The second part of my talk was dedicated to a potential new development that might be exciting to those who want to correct deep into the tissue. We need deep stromal ablation in PRK whenever we want to treat major corneal irregularities. And those of you who remember PRK 20 years ago, in the initial stages of PRK, there were prospective studies and there were treatments down to 20, 22, 24 diopters even. And the only reason we abandoned these deep ablations, besides biomechanical stability issues, was if you go that deep, you will get haze, equal to scar, equal to bad vision. But if I'm facing a highly irregular cornea, it would be lovely to perform a 150 or 200 micron ablation if biomechanics allows for it. So the limiting factor in many of these instances is haze. Now, if we look at the development of excimer lasers over the past 20 years, everything has been mathematical and physical. We as doctors talk to engineers and physicists and ask them, give us an excimer laser profile that leads to a certain new remodeling of the cornea. And so the engineer does what the engineer does best. He works on repetition rate, on the size, spot of the size, on the amount that tissue gets ablated, on the profile of the beam, and so on. This is all physical. So in fact, everything we do before surface ablation is strictly physical. And all of a sudden, after PRK, we start thinking strictly biological. We wonder, how can I suppress haze formation? What if I give more steroids? I will have slower healing responses. Why do we have this mathematical, physical thinking before, and then the moment the surgery is over, we start thinking as doctors? We should start thinking biologically before PRK, which means, why can't we optimize the ablation profiles with the excimer laser industry from a biological standpoint? And this is what we have proposed to a player in the excimer laser industry, Schwind Solutions. And they were open to this proposition. And what we have done in the past 2 years now, we have in rabbits performed excimer laser ablations that will end up with the exact same result, but modifying fluence and repetition rate and checking on the gene expression side in inflammatory markers, is there a way to minimize the expression of inflammatory cytokines? And what we found was a way to massively reduce the expression of these genes, and the only clinical disadvantage the doctor would have is he or she loses 0.2 to 0.3 seconds per diopter of correction. So in other words, we might have in 2, 3 or 4 years an ablation profile optimized in terms of biology that elicits less inflammation, thus potentially less haze, and the only advantage you have in a -5 diopter treatment as a doctor would be it takes 1.5 seconds longer. But I think this is an easy price to pay for less inflammation.